Big welcome back to the Young Hearts Run Free podcast. You join us for season 14, episode 8, I think. Joining me for a very, very quick, brief introduction, the esteemed Mr. John Cassidy.
Good evening, Stevie boy. Nice to be here. As we said last week, season 14 is gathering a bit of pace, and we're going to do this intro, as you say, at a bit of a pace. Last week, we spoke about Glasgow to Edinburgh was happening, didn't we? So, and it was quite a good day for running, I think, at the weekend. It turned out, I'm sure there was a course record set, was there?
Yeah, it was an awesome day for running, wasn't it? I was thinking that when you hear that Saturday morning thought to see other people out running an ultra marathon just now, and then you look at the climate and the skies, and you think, oof, they've bagged a good in, because it'd been pissing down another year there, hadn't it, at Glasgow to Edinburgh.
Horizontal stuff coming at them at the start line, yeah.
So
yeah.
they were blessed with a magic day, and Chris Richardson, former guest, Rico, snared the win and a course record on that particular course, 6 hours 17, I think he was. Impressive stuff. Chris, well done. Go back and listen to Chris Richardson episode for more of that.
Yeah, when we heard Chris on, he was speaking about running in India. That was the main topic of conversation that day. But the detail he puts into his life as an athlete is quite fascinating. So it's obviously paid off for him. So massive kudos to Chris at the weekend. We caveat, shout out, previous guest, friend of the show, Marco Consani. Yes, we know your course record still stands, my man. Well done.
It's safe. It's safe.
Something we never mentioned, Stevie boy, slipped our mind. A world major in Chicago was happening at the weekend. Yeah. We missed the opportunity, so let's tell the world. We have in our midst the owner of a 6-star medal, Stephen. We should take it every time it presents itself.
Let's do that. Let's do that. Let's put the spotlight on your co-host, the main man, myself. 2025 Lifetime Achievement Award, Clubman of the Year, 6-star medal holder, Stephen Watt.
Yeah, he knows how it feels to trance the streets of Chicago.
It's a belter. It looked another cracker of a day as well over in Chicago, maybe a wee bit too hot, but that's, I think, a better thing when you're in doing a world marathon major. Creating memories.
Did you not get half a tan in Chicago?
No, that was in Boston. I got half a tan.
Oh, it was Boston. Oh, it was another world major. It was another end. Right, okay.
Aye, Boston's point to point. So you're running from west to east the whole way. Hence you've got, well, depends how long you're out there for. If it's sunny, you've got anything from 2 hours to 7 hours worth of sun on your pass. Your right hand side of your pass. Sorry, pass means face.
Yeah, so we dialect. A bonus dialect dictionary there for you in our introduction.
So yeah, there was a few listeners, I think, over in the Windy City doing the marathon. Looked cracking. So yeah, it'll be New York to see out the 2025 major season. First Sunday in November, isn't it? So it'll be the 2nd of November, the day after the big one.
Yeah, after the Chile. Just a few weeks away now. Things are ramping up.
Well,
yes.
For the YouTube viewers, a wee visual treat, a wee sneak peek of the Chile medal.
I'm going to say you'll not see that in New York, but who knows what happens in New York? You might see it well indeed. So, yeah, thank you for that sneak preview, Stephen.
Is that all that was happening? Was there something else?
I think that was the main things we spoke about. There was a few other things happening not far away from us, actually, down Aberfoyle way. There was a couple of runs on the go. I don't know loads about them, but the one thing I did see was that Karen Much had a good day out. Get to see Karen back out and about it. Previous guest and winner of a prize as well, Karen. So well done.
Yeah, and it was also Stirling held its inaugural. Is it William Wallace ultra
Yeah,
marathon,
yeah, yeah.
50k and a 70k. Again, it's your first year of putting on an event to be an October day, such as the last Saturday was. Just a
Mm,
bonus, isn't it? Because
it
it
was,
was like a summer's day, shorts and t-shirts.
it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Long may it continue. Although it probably Winnie.
Winnie,
So,
100% at Winnie.
so that's a very brief intro recorded, yeah.
It is a very brief intro recorded, and we're going to turn our attention to this week's headline act because he done something pretty phenomenal in 2025. Must be great to do something phenomenal in 2025. John, have you done anything phenomenal in 25?
I do phenomenal things on a daily basis.
Ah, you do actually. You do,
Yeah.
to be fair, But the phenomenal thing that we're speaking about is the Triple Crown. And just for the benefit of listeners who maybe didn't know what the Triple Crown is, JC, before we introduce our guest, what's the Triple Crown?
The Triple Crown even, is a mythical thing that some people turn into reality. It's the West Highland Way race, as we know it, goes from Mulgai to Fort William. The Triple Crown includes the West Highland Way race, but it also has, as its pals, the Highland Fling, ding ding, which is from Mulgai to Tyndrum, and then the Devil of the Highlands foot race is from Tyndrum to Fort William. If you complete the 3 races in the course of a 12-month period, you can say that you have completed the Triple Crown. So it's a quite phenomenal achievement. I'm very much looking forward to speaking to our guest about this. He's done the Triple Crown. This is also his triple appearance on Young Hearts Run Free podcast. 4 triples, man. Welcome to the Young Hearts Run Free podcast. John Robb. How you doing, John?
Well, thank you, gentlemen. How are you?
Very good, very excited.
Excellent. So, man.
Oh,
I'm
excited.
All about 3s, isn't it?
It is. 3's a magic number. There's a song in that.
And
It is.
6 is.
And 6. You're not being left out.
It's okay. Tongue
too
is in my
easy, isn't
cheek. But listen, welcome back, John, for the hat trick appearance. I didn't realise that, if I'm being honest. So
Thank you.
this is monumental stuff. History is being made, and history has been made because you have clutched that Triple Crown, grasped it, and we are here to hear all about it. And you might have noticed I've not actually spoken to you about it at all since you done it. So well done, because I was waiting on this moment. They say
Thank
well
you.
done, and I know that John is eager to find out all about it. I had a wee bit of front row seat for some of it, so I kind of know a wee bit, but I can't wait to get delved into it. John.
Yeah, well, first of all, what made you want to do the Triple Crown? Because it is a hell of an undertaking, and it's a lot of time on feet on the same trail. What was the big carrot dangling in front of you to inspire you to go and do the Triple Crown, John?
Do you know what? It's odd because I signed up for the Devil and I signed up for the Fling this year. And obviously you sign up last year for them. And then hummed and hawed, and I thought, if I'm going to do both of them, will I just throw my name in the ring for the full West Highland Way, which was a huge jump for me, a massive jump. Because I've done the Devil and the Fling before, but I've never tackled anything as big as the West Highland Way. So I threw my name after much deliberation and discussions, because I said I had to speak to my wife and say, listen, if I'm going to do this, I'm all in here. You know, this is going to be pure focus, these 3 races. So she said, yeah, go for it. So I put my name in, and I didn't think I would get through the ballot, to be perfectly honest with you. I thought there's far better runners out there than I am, and I've not got much of a chance of getting in. But lo and behold, in December, an email comes through, and I was like, what's that, West Highland Way? Because I'd forgotten all about it. I'd forgotten I signed up for it. And the email came through and it says, "Congratulations, we're offering you a place." And I was like, I didn't care whether to laugh or greet. Right, okay. So I came upstairs and I said to my wife, I was like, "You'll not believe this. I've got a place." And she was like, "Oh, that's brilliant." I was like, "I don't know if that's good or not." What do you want to do? She had no idea what to do. And I was like, "Right, okay, keep doing, John. Right, you need to get signed up, accept it, and then we'll go for there. We push on for there." So I did, and that was the Triple Crown. I knew that 3 races were there. I was in them, so it was all down to getting prepared for them and going and doing them.
And it was a bit different this year as well for the first time. They were doing the
Yep.
Devil in April as a starter,
Yeah.
and then the Fling was going to be the other side of the West Highland. Normally it's Fling, West Highland Way, Devil of the Highlands, but they changed it this year. I kind of might quite mind what the reasons were for.
To do the landowners, I think, and
Right.
sheep and lambing and things.
Okay, yeah, but it was different. The distance isn't that much different. However, you are saying, what was your longest distance before? Was your longest distance a Fling before?
The Fling before.
Right, so it is quite a jump. So,
yeah,
coaching wise, do you have a coach? Who is your coach? How did you plan for the West Highland Way?
So I knew that, as far as I was concerned, this is a potential once in a lifetime. Okay, that's the way I treated it. So I'm all in. I need to be in as best a shape as possible to do this. So I was like, right, how am I going to do this? So obviously I run with 5-star active in Auchterarder. That's the run club. And I approached Fiona and said, "Look, I need you to coach me for these 3 races. Well, certainly for the Devil and the West Highland Way. And we'll see how we go from there, because you're not guaranteed that you're going to finish any of them, eh? So it was a case of coach me to the West Highland Way, because what we'll do is we'll utilise the Devil as part of that training. Essentially, that'll be a recce for the top half, which I knew already, but it's always good just to go over it, time and time again. So I approached Fiona, and Fiona said to me, she said, "No problem, I'll coach you." So I was away on holiday in February, and I said, "Right, what we'll do is when I come back from holiday, start then, and we'll start the build up from them." And that gave me, I think it was 16 weeks, something like that, till the West Highland Way. But there was only 8 weeks or something till the Devil. So I remember Fiona. She uses Training Peaks, so she'll give me my training plan the week before. Here's what you need to do, X, Y, and Z. And I remember I was sitting in Tenerife, sitting in my sun lounger, sipping on a beer, and ping, the phone goes, here's the first week of training. I'm like, "Oh, Jesus, look at this. This is going to be hard." And I thought, right, we'll try and defeat the buffet, and then we'll get home, and we'll just get on it. We'll just get going. So we got home on the Sunday, and the training started on the Monday. So there wasn't much time to think about it, really, but just get the heat done and get going. And then first training session, she sent me out for a 9-mile time trial up in the hills and back to the house. So it was a bit of a baptism of fire for me, to be honest with you.
You like a hill though, do you?
I do. Yeah, I love a hill. Love a hill.
And where I know I bring Stephen in because you and Stephen run about the same neck of the woods. You do a lot of running together as well with the sort of is it Activate, it's called, on a Thursday night. Sometimes you run to the pub towards the end of the month as well. But Hulls is not, you're not a stranger to Hulls, is where I'm going with this. But did you still have to up what you were doing, the intensity, with regards to being prepped for the Devil?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in terms of the training, everything was upped. But it was a lot more structured. Because I had a coach, I had that structure in place, and also had somebody that I had to be accountable to. You know, there was no, as far as I was concerned, there's no, oh, I'm no doing it because it's no nice outside, or oh, I've got a bit of sore foot, I'm not going out for a run. It had to be done, as far as I was concerned.
Just for clarity then, previously in 24 and in 23, when you'd done certainly the Devil twice before, were you not being coached specifically for that race? Was it just part of your training, you were training yourself?
Just part of my training, and also speaking to people, you know, what do you
Yeah.
think I should do? Just up your miles gradually, you know, get some hills in, you know, do a big run. And it worked. It's fine because it got me to the end of the Fling and the Devil in 23, 24. And that worked. But it needed to be, because the West Highland Way is that much further, and it was new territory for me, yeah. Completely new territory. So I wanted to make sure that I was able to do it. I didn't want to fail, or, you know, it was important to me that I was in the best shape to get it done. Because, like I said, it's potentially a once in a lifetime. You know, you might not go and do that again.
Stephen,
Mhm.
you will have witnessed JR throughout these training blocks for these three races. What would you say? What's your thoughts on his training, how he's applied himself?
I think I've witnessed a lot more with regards to JR's running journey than just those 3 races, and it's probably worth actually giving a wee bit of context. John came along one Thursday night to our Activate session in Auchterarder, a wee bit how would I say, out of shape. Yeah. No, so no like thundering along, big fatty or anything like that. That kind of out of shape. I mean, just out of shape as in no fit, right? And I don't know what encouraged you to come along. Often it was our other halves who were saying you should go along to that running group. It looks an all right crack. It'd be good for you.
It was my wife Carol signed me up because she was running at the time, and she came home one night. She was like, you know how we all get this runner's high, and you know, it's all kind of chatting times. And she came home one night and she says to me, "I've signed you up for the running class, the men's running class." And I was like, "What the fuck are you doing? What are you signing me up for that? Carry on for? I'm not a runner."
Yes. What year was that? Remind me. 2017, 2018?
It would be 2017, I think.
Okay, righto. So that was John just starting running. And that first class, I remember it. We were all worried about you because we had to send out search parties to try and go and find you on the route. I wasn't doing my job properly as coach, obviously looking after the new boy. Probably want to show you up. Knew it's the other way around, by the way. So yeah, so taking that unfit John coming to his first running session in 2017 and seeing him where he is now, I've been able to hear a ringside seat for it all. And it's been really great to see. But in particular, zooming into those training blocks that you've done before. And you're right, JC, John and I would have had a lot of chats about this when we were out running, because we have spent probably as much time, I've spent as much time running with John as I have anybody over the last sort of 5-6 years. But you had quite a rigid, I run 3 times a week and once at the weekend type thing.
Yeah, it was consistency, yeah. And it worked for me, yeah. You know, the
Totally.
time wise and everything, you know, some folk work and they can't make it or whatever, but it just kind of worked for me to run a Tuesday, a Thursday and a Saturday morning and a Sunday sometimes on the trails.
Yeah, and that was it, and that was the recipe that saw you up that level, up your level, and that consistency and that fitness that came with it. And so doing your first marathon, doing your first ultra marathon, which we spoke about on the podcast before as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then actually then just finding your groove at that level. But I think you'd already hit the nail on the head and I think me and you went out for a run. It was just after maybe West Highland Way, and I was maybe trying to nudge you towards coaching to give you that chance to take that next step up.
Yeah.
And you were musing it, going, "Oh, I'll be fine on my own," and then "Oh no, maybe you're right," and stuff like that. So we'll get back to that. But me and you went out for a run back in was it between Christmas and New Year, actually?
Probably, more than likely.
Aye. Yeah, it was just an out and back on the Braco Road. And
Yes.
and it was, I don't know, 15 mile or something like that. And you were like, oh, after it, you was sort of saying, I was struggling with being able to keep up with you and all like that. I'm like that. I can piss off. I can keep up with me, right? And stuff. But that was between Christmas and New Year, John. That's where John Robb was, do you know? A 15-mile run with me, thinking that he couldn't keep up. And we're sitting here in October, and he's executed this much more structured, much more disciplined training plan as to what he'd ever had before, and he's executed it to an absolute T.
Smashed it.
Yeah, and proven to himself that he's no up to one level, he's up to a couple of levels in there, as we'll get to speak about. But seeing that difference for where you were and how you kind of just fallen into a sort of comfort zone, do you know? So you'd kind of plateaued maybe.
Yeah, yep,
You're
definitely.
running, and then right, this is my chance to. You said it yourself really well. Might just happen once in a lifetime, so I'm going to make the most of it.
Yeah, exactly. But I also think that's the benefit of a coach giving you. I mean, I'm quite structured anyway, but if you've got a coach and you've got accountability to somebody to say, you know, they no get into trouble, and you know, I have to do this. I've got to do X, Y, and Z, and I think that is helps you phenomenally. Yeah, no to do that.
Side question. I know how disciplined you are, John, just from runs that we've done and conversations that we've had. And I know you've got a wee running book that you write things down. Stephen, when we went down to the lakes and done the lap, Stephen and I spoke about your book that you had. But my side question is, I was going to ask you about what coaching's brought to you, but I think you spoke about that. So please you can say more about that accountability and how that's impacted. But my side question is, what was your training peaks like? Was it all green? Was there any ambers or red in there?
There was a couple of it was mainly green for the Devil in the West Highland Way. It was pretty much all green,
Mm-hmm.
and then it kind of dipped a wee bit towards the Fling. We can go on to that.
Yeah, we can do that. And I'm not doing that to embarrass you or nothing like that.
No,
I'm just because it's a very good gauge of where you are, and I know that you are disciplined, but that's quite telling already that for that first two races you were hitting everything, but then there's going to be a wee bit of payback for the intensity that you went at, especially for the West Highland Way, which was
100%.
So let's, if you can, and you've already touched on this, what did coaching bring to you, your life, your running life?
It's like Stephen said, it's upped it. It definitely upped it, and you know, it's amazing because your body will do anything. Your body will do anything, but the mind's the key to it. And I'm quite strong-minded, and I can, you know, I'm quite, you know, my mind works well, my head works well. But I think it upped at a level, You know, the discipline going out, you know, you come home at night, you can get home at midnight, and then you know you're back up at 7 o'clock in the morning, and just focused on that, and it just, you know, just the focus,
Yeah,
Just,
that's it. But the mindset's a massive part of running, isn't it? So,
yeah.
And I think the way that coaches do it, certainly I've worked with Fiona too, the way that Fiona does it, you didn't even ken she's doing it. Do you know what I mean? It's ever so subtle, but it's impactful, and it really, really works. And also notice as well, to give you massive credit, I noticed on your Strava, nighttime runs, early morning runs, all that sort of stuff. You were getting that done. When folk are lying sleeping in their bed, you were out doing specific runs. So
Yeah.
was that something new?
Yeah, that was definitely new. Absolutely. There was. I remember one run. I got sent out at, it was 10 o'clock at night, and it was getting, you know, the nights were, it was getting dusky at that time. So it must have been about, I don't know, it must have been April, May time. And I was out at 10 o'clock at night, and I was like, I had to go up and down Cloan Glen. So Cloan Glen's a wooded area here. It's part of the Chile. And I'm going up and down there twice. But because it's dusk, the bats are out. The bats are starting to come out, right? And then it was also raining that night. So I'm running up Cloan Glen, and there's frogs everywhere. So I'm like, Jesus Christ, what's that? You see the eyes in the head top. I'm like, oh, it's bloody frogs. Oh, that's all right. And I'm coming back down Cloan Glen, and then there was the bats, and the bats were out, and the bats were flying right across the front of me, yeah. And I was like, honestly, I was like, absolutely terrified. Running through here, I was throwing my arms out. I was like, oh, get away. I wish somebody had videoed it. It'd be the funniest thing ever, eh? Because there was one flew past me, turned, and then flew straight towards me. And I'm like, oh. And that suited my comfort zone, eh? I didn't like any of that. I didn't like beasties and stuff like that. But yeah, and that all helps though. You know, because you're running, well, the West Highland Way, you're running part of that at night, you know, albeit you're with other people, whereas I was doing that on my own. So that kind of helps as well, you know. So yeah, it's the night runs were hard. They're difficult because especially when you're getting back in at midnight, you had something quick to eat, into bed, and then I'm up at 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm up at 6:30 in the morning to go to the next class on a Saturday morning at 7. So that's hard going, eh? It's hard on the legs, but you just have to do it.
But the Fling, the West Highland Way, and the Devil are going to be hard. You know what I mean? You're going to be tired during these races. So you've got to run on tired legs. So it sounds like that's all part of the preparation. Sorry, Stephen, were you going to come in?
I was going to say that John execute his instructions on training peaks to a T, and I know that you got a couple of curveball sessions around about the 1st of April. You want to maybe allude to. So I think Fiona and I know John's wife Carol quite well. So we were joking with her to say, do you want any household tasks put on training peaks? You know, just because John was executing it that much. And like, Fiona, I think you could put on anything and John would do it. So let's use this to your advantage, Carol. What do you need done around the house, decorating, etc., etc. But I think the 1st of April there was a particular session appeared on your training peaks.
Oh, it was an absolute belter, and it absolutely got me in. And I'm like, I'm looking at my phone. I'm like, all right. I can't remember what the 1st of April was. I think it was a Monday or a Tuesday. And I'm like, right, okay, gets in after out running, gets in, gets sorted out, gets changed, and I'm like, pops up on my phone, and it must have been about 9 o'clock at night. And I'm like, I've got to run tomorrow. I never even realised. So I'm like, looking to my training peaks. He's like, I want you to go out for it was a 6 mile run, but I want you to run up and down Johnny Matthey's backwards because it's really, really good for your calves. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, fuck's sake, Carol, I'm going to run up backwards. How do you do that? How do you even do it? I'm like, and I hate to get up early. I'll hate to be up at 4:30 because I'll hate to be at my work for this time. So I'm like that, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, man. Right, and I'm trying to process it all in my head because that's just how I work. I'm like, right, I need to break it down in my head and then get up at that time, get sorted out, and then get out the door. And then it wasn't until about an hour later, I was like, it's the 1st of April tomorrow, eh? They're hearing me on. They're absolutely hearing me on. Eh? And my wife burst out laughing. She was like, you're a mug, by the way.
Brilliant.
I was trying to figure out how I was going to run backwards up and down Johnny Matthey. I'm thinking about my trail shoes or my road shoes for that, you know.
Between videos of John swatting bats away, trampling on frogs and running backwards up and down hills, it's quite a sight, I'm pretty sure, in your mind's eye. But I think that was just a measure of, you know, Fiona saying, watch this, I do this, it'll turn green on training peaks. So it's a compliment to how well you were executing what was put in front of you. That's what we were trying to. That was the message. The underlying message there was that.
Yeah.
But Your Devil experience this year was, what was that? Towards the end of April, wasn't it? The Devil was this year.
Yeah, the Devil was on the 26th of April.
26.
Yeah.
And that would have been your third time running the Devil.
Yeah, that was my hat trick of Devils.
Yeah. So yeah, and it was your PB, your Devil PB.
It was, and do you know what? The whole thing was that the Devil was just going to be a recce. So we're like, I spoke to Fiona. She was like, I was like, I'm just gonna, we'll use it as a recce. She was like, listen, if you feel good, just keep going, just push on. And I was like, right, no problem. So there was no pressure, because I like to mount the pressure on myself. Where I'm like, I have to. I'm very time based. I put pressure on myself because I think I work better under pressure generally. So set off in the Devil. I remember getting there and I was like, all right, and I felt great at the start. I was like, because it's the first race of the season, isn't it? So everybody's all excited, you know. You're like, I'm raring to go, you know. Let's go and hit this. And set off in the Devil, and I thought, right, okay, we'll just cock on it, we'll just take it easy, you know, sensible. So I think I was 2 miles in and I got a pain in my foot. And it was just before you come down underneath the bridge. You know how you go under the wee bridge underneath the railway? And I was, there's such a pain in my foot. And I was like, this is no good. I was like, because every time I took a step, I had a shooting pain. And I was like, this isn't good. I'm like, right, okay, we'll get to Bridge of Orchy and we'll see how it is. We'll deal with it from there. We kept going, and I got to Bridge of Orchy, and it dissipated. So I was like, right, that's fine. I can ignore that now. That's one thing out of the way, you know. And pushed on, and I was like, feel great, feel really good. And then, just before that, you met a guy, John, in the tent at the Devil, and it was the Trousers guy. You remember him?
Jeez, I do, yeah.
This guy. So we were all tooting along, and we went past the where the train duct is, the train bridge. I can't remember the state. Auchterarder estate, is it? Can't remember. Anyway, and we're on our way to Bridge of Orchy. There was a group of us, and we're all just kind of chatting and running. And then this boy comes tearing past us, wearing trousers and a shirt. I think it was he had on. And I was like, is he in the race, or is he like trying to catch a train or something, But the boy just went vroom, right past us, And we're like, oh well, he's obviously in a rush, this boy. These trousers on. And it was warm.
Mm.
So anyway, we met him at the end. And I was like, trousers guy. And he was like, aye, that was me. And I was like, you all right? And he was like, aye, kind of went out a bit too fast. Absolutely broke it.
Forever
But
been
anyway,
known as Trousers Guy now.
well, always. So, so the Devil went really well for me, really well. It's always hard when you get past Kinlochleven, coming out towards Lindavra. But there was a guy I met there, Gary Larman, and me and him just kept trading places all the way up there, And we were chatting, and then he'd go in front, and I'm like, he's not getting away from me, And then I'd get past him, and I'm pretty sure he was like, he's not getting away from me either. So we kind of sat together all the way for Kinlochleven, just chatting and trading places. And then we got up to the fire track. And I was like, what are you going for today? What's your PB here? He said, I tried to get sub 7.5 last time I done it, but I failed miserably. And I was like, right, okay. So now I looks at my watch, and I'm like, if we get a move on here, you're going to get your sub 7.5. So, and I wasn't first. The time didn't bother me because I was way ahead of what I expected from myself anyway. So I was like, so then I became his cheerleader, The two of us are running down the fire truck. I'm like, come on, you need to get a move on. We got in there, and I think what were we, about 40 seconds under the 7.5 hours, which was great. That was fantastic. That blew my mind, the fact that I could get that time, and the fact that he got that as well, because the two of us had been together for so far, which is a great thing, I think, in this sport. It's brilliant because you meet these people, and you kind of bounce off of one another,
And you need that. You need that to achieve results like that, I think, to meet people on the trail. And, was sub 7:30 in your mind at the start of the race, John? You said it was like a recce or training run for the West Highland Way, but did you have a ABC goal?
Yeah, well, no, I just wanted to beat my 7:55, which was my PB. That was what I had in my head. Whether I got that or not, I don't think I was too fussed because I had programmed it as being a recce in my head. But when you get to that point, you think, this is on,
Brilliant.
Yeah, just pushed on. And of course, I met yourself at the finish line.
And then, yes. Yeah.
And
how did it feel though? See when you come off the West Highland Way though, right off the trail, the Larrig Moor, and you hit the top of that sort of windy bit. You go down the road towards the Braveheart car park. You must have had to leather it for there, or did it feel like that? You were leathering it.
I know we were pushing. Definitely. We were pushing down there. Because I was checking the watch and I was like, we need to go, pretty quick here to try and get in, because you know that Cow Hill's coming up, and Cow Hill's tough to get up and just keep slogging on. So you have to push it down that bit and try and take it up Cow Hill and get in for what you're looking for. Not that I was looking for that time, but we managed to get him it, so that was good.
I've just checked back. Gary did the Devil in 7:30 and 30 seconds before. So to get under that 7 hours, 30 minutes is nearly 4 is absolutely brilliant. So well done to Gary as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. But one of the other good things at the Devil was it was quite funny. We got in and obviously big buddies with Frank McGaffney. So he was helping out there and he was at the finish. So he's putting the medals on folk and, getting stuff for people and that. And he sees me come in and a woman went to put the medal in. He pushed her out the way. He launched her out the way and he's like, no, I'll get this one.
Brilliant.
That will stick with me forever, That was one of those moments that you get, and you think, brilliant,
Brilliant. And Frank's ever so polite. Maybe he wasn't as polite that day. I'll get this in. Brilliant. But you're good friends with Frank, aren't you?
Yeah,
so brilliant. Brilliant, man. Brilliant.
So that testimony that initial, because that was only 8 weeks into your coaching stint.
Yes.
With Fiona, that you're already seeing dividends, I'd say, and you added a bit more discipline, strength and conditioning, and bit of foam rolling and
strength and
stuff with
strength and conditioning.
Hannah Corbin, no, is that your pal?
Aye. She's she I've done
Peloton.
A lot of stretching with her and foam rolling. We're big pals,
I saw that on your Strava.
And I was going to the gym.
Photogenic classy.
Aye, she's bonny, aye. But I started going to the gym as well.
Yeah,
going to
and
the gym
that's worth mentioning because you never went to the gym before.
No, I'm not a big gym fan. It's no my bag of gym. But again, I needed to be as strong as possible, and I needed to be as fit as possible to tackle what was coming up in June. So I was going to the gym. I did circuits class once a week on Wednesday, and then obviously I was running 5 days a week, and then had one rest day.
Did the gym stuff? Did you feel it made a difference to you? Like in your
Absolutely.
head, was it making a difference to how you were feeling? And
No, it made a difference. It made a difference. Full stop. Physically, it made a difference. There's no two doubts about it. The gym stuff, the stretching, the strength and conditioning at home, and all the foam rolling and everything.
Have you been keeping up the strength and conditioning since you finished the flying?
No, I'm kind of deconditioning at the moment.
All right. Okay. Yeah. No, but the main thing we're here to talk about is the discipline of doing it beforehand. So, but it's also good to hear as well, because I think, Stephen, we were 2 or 3 years into this podcast and we were still talking about strength and conditioning and stretching and all that sort of stuff. But the benefits are real, they definitely are.
Apparently so.
They definitely are. So, and JR's saying that, and I think it's Well, let's talk about post-Devil, because if the West Highland Way Race isn't that far away,
No.
you know. So, what was that period like? Like post-Devil, did you have a week or two off, or what was the crack?
So post-Devil, the week after was an easy week. So sensible mileage. You know, I was doing, I think it was 35 miles or something like that. And then
35-mile sensible week.
Easy.
And probably 24 months ago, 35 miles would have been your peak week.
Oh, 100%. It would have been, I would have been partying if I had hit 35 miles months ago.
Yeah, sorry, I
Mm.
interjected. So an easy week, 35 miles.
An easy week, and then it ramped right back up.
Yep.
And then we were back up into silly territory, 60, 70 miles a week.
Okay, West Highland Way is your biggest distance you've completed.
Yeah.
How was it feeling, and how were you preparing for it in your head? The physical side will take care of itself. I've spoke about how disciplined you are at doing the distances, the hills, the nighttime stuff, and the stretching and the gym stuff. But how were you feeling in preparing mentally going into the West Highland Way as your biggest ever distance? It's just a kick in the arse of 100 miles, right? So
Yep.
how were you preparing for that?
So it's quite interesting. I like to break it down. So I just break it down from checkpoint to checkpoint.
Okay.
It's as simple as that. But for the West Highland Way, because I knew I was on my own at Auchterarder, in my head, the way I worked it was I had a 50-mile warm-up at Auchterarder. And then that's when you start. That's where you start at Auchterarder. As soon as you get to Auchterarder and you pick up your crew, that's when you have to get going.
Okay. How was that 50-mile warm-up?
Horrendous. It was tough. I'm not going to lie, Joe. It's a tough section, full stop. And I actually thought I was kind of all right when I got into Auchterarder, but my wife says that I just looked like death marching in. And I didn't realise it was quite bad way. And I've seen the pictures there, and it's just, you're just like, well. But it was kind of, it was strange. That section was strange because obviously most of it, well, part of it's at night, you know, so you're setting off in the dark. And you can sit at the very start of the race, you're in the car park at Mullingar, and you can sense it's tense. It's so tense. I could sense how tense it was there, And it's not like some of the other races where it's all kind of, how's it going, mate? And, you know, everybody's in a sort of party atmosphere, you know, but it just felt dead tense. And then, of course, you set off and you're like, right, okay, well, there's no turning back now. We're in. We just need to get going. So I remember one point going along the log side and I was falling asleep as I was running. It was like, my head was just going, And I fell, and I can't figure out if I fell because I fell asleep or if I fell because I tripped over something. I'm just not so sure what happened there. But it was all right. It was fine. Managed to get up and get going again. And then you just keep trudging on. You just have to keep trudging. And I don't really have a big memory of that section, Mainly because I think I just shut everything down and just march, just focus on marching and getting to Auchterarder. That was the sole focus, Get to Auchterarder. I remember coming up to Glen Bogle, you know, where the roller coaster starts.
Yep.
And I seen two of my crew, so Mark Smith and Davy Wallace were standing there because I was running up that road, and I thought, I wonder if Carol's there, Because if Carol was there, I'm going to be a mess, So I was running up that road, and I seen Davy and Mark, and they were shouting, And I was like, and it just, honestly, it almost gave me a new lease of life. I was like, brilliant! You guys are here. This is brilliant. And they were like, I've brought you a Calippo. And I was like, for fuck's sake. Honestly, that was the best Excel I've ever had in my life. It was unbelievable. It was a cola one as well, It was absolutely amazing. And then I got all confused. I was like, if you guys are here, I'm going to Auchterarder, and I'm thinking it's just 10 minutes down the road. It's not really 10 minutes down the road. It's probably about 30, 40 minutes down the road. Yeah, I was going. And I'm like, how are they going to get from there to Auchterarder, knowing that they had to go in the car, which had the pass to get in. I'm like, I just couldn't figure that out, eh? But that's probably because I was just so tired and just lack of food and everything, eh? So yeah, I pushed on, forgot about that, and then got to Auchterarder and picked up the crew, and that's a huge boost. That is a massive boost, eh? When you see your crew there. It's quite an emotional thing, you know. You just like, you get in, you're like, right, okay, I've made it to this point that I had in my head was the start. You know, I've done that section, which I would consider the hardest section. Probably not, but in my head, that's the way I had built it up. You know, worse, because I always build these things up in my head to be horrendous. And when they don't turn out horrendous, you're actually like, oh well, I'm winning. You know. Kidology in terms of the head. So
Tyndrum's only a few miles away from Auchterarder, and I was standing. Here he is again, Frank McGaffney. I was standing with Frank McGaffney at the bridge, just at Brodie's. They must have made a fortune off Calippo sales that day. But you come across there, and I remember looking at you. You're there and spoke to you, but I think either I said to Frank or Frank said to me, he's needing something. Because I'm not saying you weren't grey, but you weren't the John Robb that's sitting there, because you've run 50 odd miles. You weren't the John Robb I'm looking at just now. However, contrast that when you run into Glencoe, because I was just shooting up and doing the course that day. I got to Glencoe and I was walking back out with across Rannochmuir back towards Bridge of Orchy. You went past with Davy Wallace and Mark, and it was like you just started running. So Davy and Mark had done whatever they done, it was absolutely spot on. They got you back in, and you were running strong. I remember I phoned Stephen. I said, John's going to be with you in about the next 5-10 minutes, and he's running strong. So what can you remember what happened between Tyndrum and Glencoe?
Yeah, I think I mean the main thing would be meeting the crew. I mean, that's a huge lift day for me. And then of course I meet the crew, and then I put the pressure on myself. I need to get going, because I can't let any of these folk down, because they've given up their time for me. So it's a case of no letting people down for a start. It's a case of getting in Auchterarder and Carol fueling me, properly fueling me. No just like when I'm on my own, I'm like, I'll hear a gel now and I'll hear a gel. Although it was quite disciplined, I knew what carbs I had to have every hour. And you try to say to that, but it gets hard, you know. You're not hungry. I don't get hungry. You know, you're just forcing it down for the sake of it being fuel. So it kind of falls by the wayside a wee bit further on.
Yep.
You know, it's all great at the start. You're like on the hour every hour, but you know, when you're 11 hours in, you're like, I'm not really wanting a gel, eh? But you have to have it. You're not going to get very far without doing it, eh? So, and I think getting into Auchterarder, you get proper food. I say proper food. It's no gels or, you know, drinks or whatever. You know, I can't remember. I think I had soup. Carol made me soup. So one of the things that we thought of that would be, because we had a plan, how are we going to get fuel in? It's easy to digest. It's going to have everything in it. You know, it's not going to be too heavy or whatever. She was like, I'll make soup. I'll just put loads of stuff and make you soup. So she did. And I got to Auchterarder and I had a cup of soup. And I was like, oh, that was perfect, because it had everything in it. Salt, vegetables, you know, the whole lot. So that was quite good. That was obviously a booster. There's no two doubts about it. And then Davy and Mark took me to Glencoe, and we made, from Auchterarder onwards, we were going forward there. There was no going backwards from that point onwards there. Which is testament to them, because Davy will keep you going. You know, he'll be like, come on, get what you're walking for. Come on, let's run. You know, he pushes you on. So yeah, they helped as well. But the food, I think the food was a big thing, eh? Getting proper food in me and getting going again. And also I had got over the hurdle of getting to Auchterarder.
Yep.
So mentally, I knew that I had got to that point. My warm up was done, and now this was the race essentially for me.
Yeah. Standing in Mulgai, you said it was tense. There's a tension there. Some folk got excitement. A number of folk are shitting themselves as well. They can what's going to happen in the next wee while or long while. What was your aspirations for the West Highland Way, standing in Mulgai?
So I wanted to finish. I wanted to finish. Yeah. Nothing less than a finish would have done. Ultimately, I had said to a few people, I had made the contract. It was like, I'd like to do it in 24 hours. If I can do it in 24 hours, I'll be absolutely over the moon. But if I didn't do it in 24 hours, I'm no fussed. Because as long as I can get to the finish, and that was the primary target, to get to the end, because this was all new to me. Yeah, this is all new. Step up there. So, yeah, if I could get under 24 hours, I would have been over the moon.
Stephen, I've mentioned about coming over to Glencoe and that I'd phoned you to say JR was coming in. What was your thoughts when John came into Glencoe? How was he looking?
Yeah, so that was the first time that I would have seen you, John, on that. And that would have been, so keeping in mind, everybody, John started this race at 1 a.m. on Saturday morning in the dark in a car park at a train station in the north of Glasgow. I'm seeing him at Glencoe, 70 miles later, around about that?
Yeah.
Give or take.
Yep.
So, and it was tea time. It was like 6 p.m. on the Saturday. Cracker of a day.
10 past 4.
10 past 4 you came in there.
Aye. Yeah.
We were expecting you about 6 o'clock, John. That's probably why I've got that in my head, right? 10 past 4 you came in there. And what time did you leave there? Does it tell you that on your...
No.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
No.
I want to say it was about 4:30 because you got a bit of refuel there as well. But in answer to JC's question, he was looking good. He was looking buoyed.
Yeah, I said that to Davey and Mark. I said, whatever you two have done, brilliant. You've got him in here in a great shape. Knowing there's still a big marathon to go, a hilly marathon to go. But
And
Stephen, you're then running with John for there, aren't you?
Yeah, and it's warm. So let's just set that context as well. It's warm. I'm sitting there going, feck's sake, I've got to go on a marathon in this heat. Right? John was obviously lifted by running with Davy Wallace and Mark Smith. I could tell that. He was lifted by seeing his wife as well.
Yeah.
And maybe by the rest of the support crew.
Yeah, definitely.
Around about then. He was getting battered into the food. Davy Wallace was passing me vital instructions and info on the QT so that you could hear it as to what I was needing to do and Frank was needing to do with you, to get you to belt on towards Fort William. And we set off in pretty fine spirits, and John was in good form. Even we were toodling along quite fine, across the road over to King's House and then towards the Devil's Staircase. But my biggest memory was thinking, I'm warm, I'm struggling to get going here. So I was keeping that in mind for you, that you'd already covered 70 miles and you were moving mightily fine.
The buffs were a saviour that day. The buffs and the burns and the puddles were a saviour that day. Because, you're right, it was absolutely boiling.
I think then, because of how Glencoe sits in the topography of the land, it's, heat can collect, and especially once you go up over the Devil and down the other side towards Kinlochleven, it's got that heat builds in the sort of corries, the gullies. And it was definitely feeling like that there was that was the warmest it got between Glencoe and Kinlochleven, and we were commenting on it, and because of that, John, you drinking? John, are you drinking? John, take that. No man,
Yeah.
no man, no man, no man. Take that, eat that, instruct.
Yeah,
There's a wee chew. Just stick it in your hand. Slip it in. Slip I'm passing a wee disco biscuit.
the crew were on top of me, yeah. And I remember that. I remember you eat. And I remember Davey saying to me as well, are you just going to carry that jelly here away, or are you going to take something with it? You know? Because I was running along with just a gel in my hand. He's like, you've carried that gel for about the last 10 minutes and you've not had anything with it. You can take something with it. And I'm like, aye, all right. At that point, you're that tired and you're like, oh, for fuck's sake, just days your tail. You're like, I'm not wanting any arguments or hassle. I'll just do it.
But that's a form of tough love, you know.
Absolutely.
And it's a form of tough love doing that, and that's what keeps you going. That's what gets you there. Yeah.
And it's those wee prompts and cues. Prompt, cue. You're just prompting because you can see. You've had that bar in your hand. You know he's no tanning it. I'm going Frank. He's no wowfing that bar that's in his hand. Keep at him. Keep at him. Keep at him. Fuel the tank. Then he let it get to the dregs. All that stuff. But you were. I wouldn't say you were wowfing doing the food enjoyably, but you were getting it. You were getting the calories in.
But that's a massive thing. That's a massive thing. Even if you didn't feel like eating, you've got to get something in.
Absolutely, you have to eat. You have to eat, or else you're just going to parachute there on the trail.
Okay, let's fast forward a wee bit to Kinlochleven. Next checkpoint. How are you feeling at Kinlochleven?
No bad, actually. Oh, you're sorry. You're asking him.
Stephen was going well at that point, eh?
I'd fund my second wind. Sorry, I jest.
I know, fine. I actually felt really good. The section from Auchterarder all the way to the finish, I felt all right. You know, I was getting tired. Yeah, there's no two doubts about that. It was fair. You know, that's going to happen. There's nothing you can do about that. That's just reality. Doing stupid stuff. But yeah, got to Kinlochleven. We got in. We got sat down. Got something to eat. And then we set off, didn't we? And we went up.
What time were you in Kinlochleven? Have you got that detail?
Kinlochleven, we got there 1 minute to 7.
1 minute to 7, right? Okay, cool. Do you know what time you left there? Have you only got arrival times?
Nah, just arrival times.
Okay, that's cool. So that you're 18 hours in.
We were quick. The turnarounds were quick, and that was one of the things when I look back on it was how quickly. I think that was the saving grace, was how quickly we managed to turn around in terms of the stops.
Stephen's got a point to make here.
John made use of the kludgies at Kinlochleven.
I did.
Well, it's the first good toilet you've got in the Hillbody course, just about, unless you got into Green Welly.
But I think it's safe to say this, hopefully, John. John's never had a trail shite.
Never.
This
never
week's
had
Patreon content starts here.
Like, ever. Right. Do you know just to debut on that front at some point in your career?
And that time will happen. That will happen. Because when it's going to happen, the Tortuga's going to defeat you at some point.
But John, I was taught by John Cassidy that there's a particular technique and everything. So, I was just trying to pass on some of that wisdom to you. But so the turtle seed made an appearance.
But what a refreshing feeling it is once you've...
Oh, he was off like a whippet.
So wait a minute, 18 hours, just a minute to 18 hours, just arriving at Kinlochleven.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about wanting to do a sub 24. My maths isn't the best. So that's well within your grasp, but there's still a good wee bit to go till you get to Fort William, isn't there?
Yeah. You've still got, what did we have? We had 16 miles from Kinlochleven to Fort William. And it's not the easiest section, is it? You know,
with 70 miles in your legs.
Yeah.
You know,
that's
and you got that
80 by now.
80,
Yeah.
sorry, 80, yes. And you've got that climb out of Kinloch Leaving, which for me is probably one of the toughest, if not the toughest climb on the course.
100%. That is the biggest climb on the course, or the toughest. There's no two doubts about that. Folk go on about the devil, the staircase and that, and like that. Nah, it's the climb out of Kinloch Leaving that's the hard one, eh?
It's the stage of the race it comes at as well. But did you get your segment crown going up there on the West Highland Way?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure we talked about it, and I'm pretty sure because you were battering on, you weren't hanging about going up there. It's not as if you were trudging up there.
I don't know. I'm going to have to look back now, though.
Okay. Let's just pretend you did.
I mean, that guy.
Getting for the story.
Right, so up to the top of the climb, Larry Grew. You've then got the wee checkpoint at Lundavra. How was that? How was it to Lundavra, and how were you feeling at Lundavra?
It's always a trudge, up that way. It's just the fact that you can see so far, you see the road so far ahead. But we pushed on, we managed to just keep pushing on, and we got to Lundavra, the three of us, and then the boy pulled out the ice lollies at Lundavra, didn't he? Out the van. And I'm like, he's like, would you like a nice lolly, son? I was like, I'll take two, pal.
Brilliant. What flavour were they?
I can't remember what they were. They were the ice poles that the boy had.
They were CBD infused somehow.
I'd still be sleeping up there if it was.
But I do recall bouncing out of Lundavra thinking to yourself, what you got to the finish with Lundavra? 8 miles?
Yeah, something like that, 8-9 miles.
Yeah. So Steve,
thinking,
I want to bring you in here, Stephen, because we had a conversation in the Mecca that is McDonald's on the Sunday morning in Fort William. And we were talking about, so JR's already said he would love to do a sub 24. That's on. What conversations were happening at this point?
There was conversations. I was planting seeds with regards to what the target time was, and I was keeping a good eye on to myself and doing all these wee calculations to say, right, we've got 24 hours. That's well in the bag. Let's time to up the ante here. Up the ante. John, you can, if you finish under 23 hours, then you get this feeling that you've done it. You started the race and finished it in the same day. Very good. Very, very, whatever. It's like you wasn't want to hear me. I was like, okay. That was the start of the planting of the seed. Maybe John can pick up the story for there.
I remember it. You were like, you could do this in a single day. And I remember saying to you, Matt, I'm happy with 24 hours. I'll take that. I just want to get to the end of it. You're like, every mile you were like, we're on target. We're on target, by the way. Just keep this going. We're on target. And then, of course, it manifested in my head because it was something to think about and take the focus off the legs and the pain. And I was like, you hate to go for it. Eh? Like I said, you might only be here once, so you may as well go all in.
Aye, brilliant. Well done, Stephen, man. The way in a day. It's a thing, man. If it wasn't, it is new.
But by this point, it had also blossomed this idea with John over the course of maybe a couple of 2 or 3 miles, and then he was on it, and then I could see a total shift, and I was getting that feeling he's got the tractor beam of the finish line is starting to drag him in, and now he's got this focus of getting under 23 hours so that he can get the West Highland Way done in the same day. And like Frank and I were starting to struggle to keep up with the bastard, to be honest, because he was just ploughing on, and I was like, right, we're going to hate to get the head torches on because it was getting a bit dusky. Get the head torches on, and it was almost like, that means we're going to hate to stop to do a wee bit of admin, getting head torches out the bag and all like that. And it was almost like it felt shit, we've no time to waste here. We're no stopping for long. Get the head torches out, on and away again. Such was this start of this sort of feeling of, draw. And then we got to the top of the fire track and we fueled you with some sugary coke, and that sparked another gear.
That's right. Frank had the tins of juice, didn't he?
We mini tins.
You had wee mini tins, and you had 3 tins with them, eh? And I was like, and 2 of them were diet or sugar free.
Aye. That was awesome. He's also taking a look at me and Frank. We were watching our figures.
Sugar free, and I'm like, I'm no fucking hate sugar free.
Placebo effect. But no, there was one full fat one that John wouthed, and then we started making a beeline for the finish line.
And it's a different route than the Devil, because you're going into the town, into Fort William. So how was that coming down that fire track? Because you hit the tarmac then, don't you, at the bottom?
Yeah, you do. We pushed on down the fire track. We were pushing, eh? I remember it. I remember coming down the fire track, and the sun was setting. It was kind of all that beautiful way when we started to come down, and you could see the oranges in the sky, and it was beautiful, eh? And then we were like, in my head, I'm like, we need to push here, eh? This is the moment where we push, because we're downhill all the way to the road. And I had never been beyond the Cow Hill turn-off. So that was all new to me. And we get down there, and I didn't really know where I was going there. And I was like, you're coming down. And if you don't know it, it always seems longer. I know it's not any longer, but I didn't know what to expect. So I'm like, we came out on the main road, and we hung a left, and we ran along the roadside. We were running, and then, of course, there's people in front, and Stephen turns it. Somebody up ahead. Right, let's go. Let's keep pushing. Just keep the legs turning here, and we push on. And I'm like, where is this place? You know, it felt like forever, but it wasn't, was it?
No.
Yeah, and then you arrive in the centre of Fort William, and you're like, which way around the bus station do I go, and which way do you go across this car park and over the road? It was all a bit random there, but yeah, we pushed on and we got it done.
But you were. By the time we were starting to come down the fire track, I was well keeping an eye out. I was, every time a mile passed, I would shout out what it was and say how many minutes that we put in the bag that last mile in terms of getting that under that 23 hours. But I'm sure you ran like an 8:50 mile.
Yeah.
You know, so this was impressive, mightily impressive.
It just shows you though what you've got, what your body's capable of. You know, when you get that spurt and when you get that push, and when that new carrot of sub 23 hours has been dangled, you find it for somewhere, but you didn't find it if you've not trained properly. And you'd been trained properly. You'd done the due diligence, if you like, of the time on feet and the hills and the stretch. And this is all coming into play right now, and the mental side of it. So
that's exactly why you're running tired legs. Because you're used to it, and your body's used to it, and it's not as bad as you think it is if you can cope with it and you're used to it.
When you cross the finish line in 22 hours, 51 minutes and 34 seconds, would you have even believed that was possible at 1 o'clock in the morning at Mulgai?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
And how did it feel when you realised that?
Do you know what? I usually get quite emotional when I go over a finish line, John, especially for the longer distances. Got there, I was spent. I had absolutely nothing left. And I got there, and Carol was there. I remember stumbling forward there, and I just grabbed onto her. And then I was like, right, need a seat. So I went and sat down and had a cup of tea and a couple of bits of toast.
It's the best toast you ever ate in your life, eh?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Can I ask, did you get caught in the rain? There was big storms. Were you before that?
We were before that.
Brilliant. Well, that's a good thing because they were quite horrendous, I think, the storms later on.
There was thunderstorms. I was in my bed when the thunderstorms were happening, but Carol said, "Did you hear the thunder?" And Mandy, Auntie Mandy, who was crewing with Carol, now she is terrified, and I mean terrified, thunderstorms. So when the thunder and lightning was happening in the middle of the night, I know nothing about this because I would do it for the count. But when the thunder and lightning was happening in the middle of the night, Mandy was hiding in the cupboard in the bedroom because she is that scared of it. So,
wow. Well,
yeah,
big kudos to Mandy and to Carol for what they've done as part of the
absolutely.
course. You know, you can't do a gig like that without a crew. We've spoken about your crew, and they've all played their part, obviously.
I think your crew's key. I think your crew is one of the things. I know we talk about the training and being fit and all this, but having an experienced crew on a run like that is the key factor. I think for me it was, and I knew that when I was like, who am I going to get to crew me? I was like, right, I need people that are experienced that can keep me going and they know exactly what the crack is. Hence the crew.
Yeah. You know what? I got this T-shirt for Tom Rainey, and Tom Rainey spoke to Stephen and I doing his Cape Wrath adventure, and he spoke about having specific people at specific places because he knew what he would need. And it sounds very a similarity that you've done exactly the same thing. Carol there at Auchterarder, you know.
Yeah.
The suit was good, but probably seeing Carol was even bigger.
Oh,
Do you know
absolutely.
what I mean? That personal thing. Same with Davey and Mark, and then with Stephen and Frank. It's like a jigsaw puzzle that's all just come together, isn't it? You know. So, but well done to you for selecting the crew for doing that as well. It's brilliant, man. A great execution. Absolutely brilliant execution. Congratulations.
Thank you. It worked out well.
Working better than that.
And you got a new hoodie as well.
Aye,
Yeah.
Oh, this will fun.
But wait a minute, we're only 2/3 of the way through.
I know. We've still got the fling to talk about.
But I think it's right. We've spent a lot of time on the main A race there, to be fair, because it's the longest that John's ever run. It's your biggest race. It was the focal point to it. And I know if speaking to others who have done it before with the Triple Crown, it can feel a wee bit after the Lord Mayor's show, the third race, because you've put everything into that West Highland Way effort, John, and that's at the end of June. And what have you got? How many weeks between? It was a wee bit longer because it was into September, the fling. So what, 10, 11 weeks or so round about that.
Yeah,
but
something like that.
In terms then of talking us through about keeping focus, because you already spoke about there was some red starting to appear in your training peaks, coming off the back of the West Highland Way race, the biggest thing you've put your body through, running wise. Take us up for there and lead us up to the fling.
Aye, so after the West Highland, I had 2 weeks off, and I usually recover pretty quick, and I was off work on the Monday, and I was back to work on the Tuesday, so I was all right, and I was shuffling about the office, but I could sit down and stand up and walk about, and I really wanted to get going again. That weekend, we were going on holiday. We were going on holiday in Scotland, and I was like, I said to Fiona, I was I want to go running again. She was like, no, 2 weeks off, nothing, absolutely nothing, because I thought, I feel all right, I'm good to go again. But I don't think you realise how much it takes out you. I certainly didn't realise how much it takes out you. There's no two doubts about it. You need way longer than a week, or maybe even longer than 2 weeks. But we have to get back on the horse again because the fling's coming up, and I have 2 weeks off, and then back on the horse, start off easy. It's an easy week. It's a couple of easy weeks, I think it was, and then we're back into get up in the mileage. And then I got 2 good weeks in, and then I done my back in, getting a juice out the cupboard. And I've never done my back in like that before. I couldn't move. Couldn't move. I was hanging on to the bunker. I was basically screaming the house down at one point. And I was like, didn't panic, it's fine, it's fine. So I got sorted out, and Carl got me onto the sofa, and I couldn't move off the sofa, and I was this isn't good. So I was like, right, okay, we'll just roll with it. No need to panic yet. And so I went to the osteopath twice. I was like, no running that week, because I couldn't. And went to the osteopath, and he helped it, but it just wasn't 100%. So it was back onto the training, and it was it was scaled back a wee bit, and there was, I was like, I'm not going to the gym, I'm not going to be lifting weights because I'm too terrified that my back goes again. So, but I managed to eke it out up to a couple of weeks before the fling, and then we had our taper for the fling. But I don't think it was anywhere near as intense and as hard, or me pushing myself, as it was in the build up to the Devil on the West Highland Way.
So you've had to adjust your training,
Aye,
accordingly, because of your back pain. And sometimes your back pain, sometimes you can't. Standing up's an issue with it, even never mind running. But so you're back at Mulgai, right?
aye,
At that bloody train station again. But I think it's at a 6 a.m. start, isn't it? 6 a.m. start for the fling. How's your motivation? How's your get up and go? How's your fever to get this thing done? How are you feeling?
it was tough. It was tough to get motivated for it, and it all became a means to an end, so to speak. I think because I put everything into everything else, it was just like, oh no, here we go again. And I remember getting to Milngay, and I was right. I was quite nervous before it. And I got to Milngay, and I met a few folk. I met Bobby Burt and that, and I was speaking to him. And then I was really calm, eh? And I was right, well, we're in again. We need to go 52 miles that way, and that's it. That's the boxes all ticked. And I set off, and I was and I remember getting to, it was sort of, I don't know, it must have been about 10 miles in. I was sore. My knees were sore, my back was sore, my head was pounding. And I was this is going to be a tough day. It's going to be a really tough day. But I was get to Balmaha. So you get to Balmaha and you get your drop bag. You're right, get some food in and get going again. And then along the loch side, it was just that. I think that's probably the furthest into the cave I've been was along that loch side during the fling. That was hard. That was I didn't think about quitting things, but I was if I get to Inversnaid, I could just quit here, But I didn't. I got to the point where the low road and the high road split. You know that big climb from there, because that goes right up. And I was trudging up there, and I was I've had enough. I've had enough of this. And I was come on. And of course that's the devil on one side and the angel on the other side. Come on, man, come on. You need to keep going. You need to get to the finish. But yeah, I was low. It's the lowest I've ever been in a race.
So
at that point.
What did you do to turn that round?
What did I do to turn that round? I got to the top of the hill, which is always a good start. And I bumped into a guy called Clark Finlay, who I meet all the time in the West Highland Way races. And he's a lovely guy. So I bumped into him, and we were just chatting away, and he was like, oh, come on. And he said, oh, you're on for the triple day, And I was like, yeah. And I kind of just thought, right, there's no point. I'll get to Inversnaid. There's no point in going back that way. there's no point of waiting in Inversnaid because you're going to be waiting there a long time. May as well just keep going forward. And you know the shit show that's a way to happen in front of you from Inversnaid onwards. And you're like, if I can get through there, get to Being Glass, then we can just cruise home, or just keep plodding on, and get home. So we did.
I know Clark Finlay. He's a good lad. I've met him. I've met Clark at the Pentlands a couple of times. Very good runner. He's had a brilliant year as well. The Lochside though that you mentioned, was it? Were you feeling it like that because you'd experienced it in the West Highland Way? Had that played into your mind that you never enjoyed it on the West Highland Way day? Was that playing into your mind, or was it just a combination of you're achy, you're sore, you've had enough of this shit?
I think it was just a culmination of everything, because I mean I've done the Lochside down the West Highland Way, but I wrecked the Lochside because that was the bit in my head that I didn't like. I just don't like that section from Inversnaid till you get past Dario's Post.
Yep.
And I knew that that's a place that I need to recce that 2-3 times. You know what I mean? Start to try and become comfortable with it.
Yeah.
You know. So I knew what it was all about. It was just you know it's coming and it's hard. It's hard. I'm not comfortable with it at all. That section, and I can't figure out how to get comfortable with it. It's just so awkward.
Sounds like what you're trying to do to get comfortable with it is to keep on doing it again and again, so it becomes almost in the muscle memory or whatever you say.
Exactly. Yeah.
The muscle being the brain.
Yeah. You mentioned Bogle Glen, so you go through Being Glass. You get to Bogle Glen. 10k for there at the finish. To Bogle Glen for that deer gate. You go through that gate, hit the roller coaster.
Yeah.
How was that for you? That last 6 miles.
That was the other tough section on the flank. Going from there because it's a drag. It's a complete drag. Now, I've done it before when the trees were all there.
Yeah.
And it was lovely because it's all rolling and it's all like, rabbits and flowers and pretty trees, See, now it's just like a wasteland.
Mm-hmm.
But now that all the trees are gone, and it's a drag. It really is a drag running through there. And I struggled. I struggled on that section, plus I didn't hear Calippo either at the start. So that makes it even worse. I got through that section and I got to the road crossing at the 82. And I think it was the 82 or the 85, can't remember. But you get over the road and you head towards Auchterarder. And just after I got over the road and was on the road into the farm, who pops up next to me? Clark Finlay. So he's running next to me, and I was struggling. I was really struggling at that point. And he's alongside me, and he's chatting away, just chatting away. So I'm chatting back to him. We ran all the way from there onwards, and we got to that big, the big deer fence before you go into Tyne Drum.
Yeah,
it's I don't know what size of deer they've got up there, but that fence is humongous. It's like someone for Jurassic Park. Honestly, you see the big gate and everything. So we got there, and Clark said to me, I'll never forget it. He said to me, here's what's going to happen. He just turned to me and said, here's what's going to happen. You're going to go along here, and you're going to turn up that carpet, and you're going to go and get your Triple Crown. And I'm going to wait, and I'm going to get my grandson, and then I'm going to come in behind you. And I was honestly, I was a bit grating. I was in near tears. I'm like, okay, Clark, okay. And I just, what I think to do. You know what I mean? What I think to do for somebody. It just blows my mind,
That's the running community, man. That's brilliant.
It is. And that's it to a T, yeah.
And are you hearing the piper by this time?
Hearing the piper, aye.
So that's a draw, isn't it? You can, you're close.
Absolutely. And then I was coming up the car park and I seen Carol and the kids. Now that's the first time the kids have ever been to one of my races or seen me finish. Yeah. But that's quite emotional as well. Seeing them there because they made the banner up and and they were shouting, "Come on, John!" So yeah, a wonderful. It's a wonderful finish anyway. It made extra special by all those wee bits and pieces. After after a tough shift, that was a hard day. Probably the hardest I've had, if I'm being honest.
You did message that almost word for word on the Saturday evening when I checked in with you. Do you know that was the toughest day. And sometimes I was thinking, is that just in the immediate aftermath, or and then you said, I think Aaron maybe said, right, we'll debrief during the week or something. You know, let you hear that a couple of days when you go back and actually think, wait a minute, it was just really rubbish because it was rotten at that exact moment on Saturday.
Oh.
But I'm still hearing now, and I spoke to you since, it was a tough day. But you got to the finish line and you got the Triple Crown.
Yeah.
Did you manage to keep the tears in check?
No. Nah. I was hanging on the barrier. Hanging on the barrier at the finish, sobbing my eyes out.
That's earned though,
Of
man.
course-
That's earned, that stuff.
Of course, Carol came up with the bairns, and she said, "Well, you all right?" They thought I was just knackered, and I'm like, "Oh," and then I pulls myself up. The bairns are there. I can't let the bairns say that because the bairns will take piss at me if they see me green. So
I know
I
these
was
bairns,
like,
they would.
I'm fine. I'm just knackered, just really tired. I think I've got a fly or something.
Imagine how proud those bairns are though. Telling their pals,
Absolutely, because they always say to me, during when you're doing all the training for this, because it doesn't take a toll, but you're out all the time, eh? There's sacrifices you have to make, and you're not here for everything that's going on. And they're always like, "Oh, what are you up to today, Dad?" "Oh, you'll be going for a run on here." I was like, "Aye, I'm going out early, but I'll be back, and then we're going here, there, eh?" And they're like, "Oh, what have you been up to? You've been out running, And they're like, I say to them, "Oh, I've got this race," and they're like, "Aye, whatever, Dad, aye, whatever." But then they turn up there, and they've made, a board. They've made a sign. Beth got me a T-shirt. She went before all this happened. She got me a T-shirt that's got 3 crowns on it. She got 3 crowns printed on it. She gave it to me at the end, and I was like, "Oh, Jesus, you're going to set me off again." But and you're like that. Well, they do take it in. They are proud. I know they're proud,
But there's that belief. Beth knows her dad's going to get this done.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Yep.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. That's brilliant. We often ask a special question for somebody, so we reached out to Coach Fiona for a question. Coach Fiona's question is, so what piece of advice would you give somebody thinking about the people have done ultras, right? So they know what ultras are. That's what we're pitching this. But they're thinking about doing the Triple Crown. What bit of advice would you give them?
Listen to your coach, number one.
Oh, very good.
Your coach tells you. You got to give it your all, eh? You have to go in full bore. You're 110% into it if you want to do it. There's no faffing about. No, it's full on. It's full on, and you have to be committed, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know if you could, just faff about and do a Triple Crown. I'm not so sure. Eh? I think you have to be lucky. I think you have to be lucky to be fit to do all 3 races, for it all to work out the way that you would want it to. But just work hard, Work hard, as you can.
Stephen, any thoughts on what John just said?
Well, I definitely get signed up to Coach Fiona.
Aye, yeah.
think that's loud and clear. Thanks, John, for the for that. I'm sure she'll appreciate it. But I reckon what John's maybe underplaying is that, and you maybe touched on it a wee bit, but you're a busy dad, you're a busy husband. Carol will maybe different thoughts on that from time to time. And you've got a full-time job that's demanding,
Yeah.
and you're fitting all this on top of all that, which is more than you've ever done. And yeah, it's taken its toll naturally. It probably, that toll played out in the fling. Fair.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of just the load increase that you've kind of put your body, and it's not just the mental, it's not just the physical part, it's the mental demand as well at all, because it's all consuming. John, JC, you'll ken that as well, that when you throw your heart and soul into something like this that John's done, it's all you can think about. You know, it takes precedence over any other thought. It's the first thing you think about in the morning. It's ridiculous, really. But I know John well enough to know that he wouldn't have. There would be no half measures. All in, and I think that's come over loud and clear. And that's the message that he's echoing there. That didn't go into this half-hearted. Didn't go into it thinking that it's something that you could just fit in. If you want to do yourself justice, then make the sacrifices, become accountable, sign the contract with your nearest and dearest, because you're going to be unavailable for important family occasions from time to time. And that all has to kind of come in, and that support of your nearest and dearest is really as important as your own commitment.
Absolutely, 100%.
I'd like to say something as well. That thank you for that, Stephen. Sorry, thank you for that. I'd like to say that you never just went in. There's two different things. There's completing the Triple Crown. That I think if I was going to go and do the Triple Crown, I'd be chasing checkpoints. I might get it done, the 3 races. I'd have to be lucky, fitness-wise. But you were, in my mind, you were racing these. You had a PB in the Devil of the Highlands. Right? You took 26 minutes off your previous time. So that's fast. And then you did the West Highland Way in sub 23, which is a phenomenal achievement. So you're not just, you get 35 hours to complete the West Highland Way race. You've done it in sub 23. And then for what you've described is, I think you used the word horrendous for the fling. You were 16 minutes over your previous time. So you're still running hard, you know? What were you? It was like 11 hours, 17 minutes for the fling.
Yeah, and my PB was 11 hours and 1 minute. But do you know, the real ironic thing about that was, my PB was 154th, and 11 hours, 17 minutes, I was 127.
There you go.
So the course was slow.
Yeah, but I think to have done that with the pressure on your body, with the pressure, what Stephen's talking about, the external pressure about time commitments and family commitments, but the pressure on your body, your brain, your emotions, it's no wonder you're the wee greet at the end. That's cool, absolutely fine. But never underestimate what you've actually achieved, and I think what you've done is absolutely brilliant, and you are very befitting of that Triple Crown t-shirt that Beth got made for you. So wear that with pride. I think it's brilliant what you've done. Stephen.
Okay, I couldn't agree more. I'm really proud of John, being the moment that you kind of said to me, I'm going to go for it. I was like, yes, this is like somebody graduating for 2017, first time that you ran with us. Those search parties getting sent out, knew he's going to eclipse me because I've never done the Triple Crown. And then again, if I've got the mental fortitude to do it, if I'm dead honest, if I'm really honest. So it's all on you and your approach, your Rain Man-like approaches to some things, and how that has kind of transpired to you be sitting there with your Triple Crown. and it's pretty relentless trails and hills and all like that. It's not just easy running on top of all that. So I sometimes look at it and think to myself, I fancy that because John's inspired me to do it, and probably I'm having watched you do it, observed the way that you've tackled it. And if there was a blueprint to doing it, I'd probably say that that's what I would follow. So that's a pretty ringing endorsement for you to say
Appreciate that.
how much admiration I've got for you.
I think, I mean, there was a lot of Triple Crowners this year. I don't know the exact numbers, but I've certainly seen a lot at the end, that were coming in and saying that was our third one. And I think everybody's phenomenal that does that. I mean, everybody that just does the opera stuff, phenomenal. All these people inspire me. I look at all these people and, what they do, and I'm like, that's inspirational. I think everybody bounces off of one another in this sort of opera world, so to speak.
Yeah. You've mentioned a few people tonight, and they're equally as inspiring. But never forget what inspiration you're doing for other runners, but also for your kids. Do you know what I mean? It's not just all about running. It's about setting yourself a goal and thinking, I can and I will, and then achieving that, which is brilliant. And I love that Stephen's mentioned about the John Robb he met in 2017. John Robb in 2017 would never have dreamt that he could do the West Highland Way, well, be on the West Highland Way 3 times in the space of a few months and complete them all. So it's brilliant. Your progress has been brilliant.
John Robb in 2017 wouldn't be able to tell you where the West Highland Way started.
Brilliant.
And I think when I add up your 2 times, your fling time and your devil time this year, I come to 18:47. And you can, that's my favourite number anyway, 18:47. But I'm thinking to myself, that is, 3 hours? All right? 4 hours. Aye, 4 hours quicker than you've done the whole thing as well. And I wonder, that is quite a good comparison for people to say, well, what was my fling and devil time joined together? And then what was my individual West Highland Way Race time? And who's got the gaps that's the most and the least?
That's a great way to look at it. I'll tell you another thing that's quite spooky is my fling time of 11 hours 17 minutes this year was exactly the same as the time it took me in the West Highland Way to get to Auchterarder. 11 hours 17 minutes.
Which is, for people who are unfamiliar, it's pretty much the same miles that you're covering there, albeit a wee bit less. But there you go. So your 50-mile training run, your 50-mile warm-up run, as you described it so eloquently for the West Highland Way Race, was a no bad wee 50-miler, really. 11 hours 17 minutes just for the double marathon. Okay.
Highland Fling, 20th of September. Today is the 13th of October, time of recording. How's your body?
My body feels old. It's feeling old. It's all right. I've been out running again. I'm out running. The difficulty I have nowadays is walking. Just walking about the house and stuff like that. I'm all right when I'm running. All the aches and pains disappear. But when I'm sitting up and sitting down and standing up, I'm sore. But yeah, I'm all good. I'm tired. I'm still tired.
Did you get any of the sort of night sweat stuff? Waking up in a sweat during the night?
Sweating night anyway, John. Doesn't make a difference.
Okay. What's next for you?
I don't know.
Nothing in the calendar?
Nothing in the calendar. Calendar's empty.
That could be a good thing. Can also be a dangerous place to be.
100%.
As well. Yeah.
I know. I do need to put something in the calendar because I need that focus. I need something there, and that'll make me get going again. Yeah. But yeah, I would like to. I like all that. There's all these ones down in the lakes I quite like. Glasgow, Edinburgh. I was intrigued by that at the weekend. Or Edinburgh. Oh no, Glasgow, Edinburgh.
Yeah, it's a bit flatter than what you've done this year.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll just keep my eyes peeled and see what there is.
I think one of the key things just now is just saying you're back running again, which is brilliant. But I think one of the key things is be kind to yourself, be kind to your body, and just enjoy a bit of downtime as well. Takes a hell of a lot out of you, I think, as you've described. But sometimes we just come back to stuff a wee bit quick, you know.
Yeah.
And you say you're tired. That'll eventually the John Robb that you knew at the start of the year will come back. Do you know what I mean? So just didn't rush it, man. Just didn't rush it.
I don't particularly want to rush into someone else and sicken myself, because then you sicken yourself and you're not getting that buzz, or you're it just kind of falls by the wayside. You kind of got to keep on top of it.
Definitely. What was your first scran when you finished?
Which one?
You choose. Tell us about them all.
Well, the devil. I'm never hungry after a race, so I tend not to eat that much after a race. But see, the day after, open season. So the day after the devil, we had a Chinese. West Highland Way was the Matty D's breakfast, which was all part of my incentive. It was one of the incentives of finishing the West Highland Way that I could get a Mackie D's breakfast. Then to get that for month. I know. And then the fling. What did we have after the fling? I think we had.
Think of your sponsors. Think of your sponsors. Well, your future sponsors once you've said their names. So just think carefully. Just make it up. Who do you want to sponsor you? Halal tandoori.
To the lovely Lal, where the tandooris are great.
Use code JR as a walloper for 10% off.
I love the fact that when I asked you what was your scran, that you said what one. I love that, because there was more than one thing played into this victory, man. Absolutely brilliant. Stephen, this has felt like we're running the West Highland Way, man. This is a long episode, eh?
It is. It's deserved of a long episode.
100%.
But we're well, I don't know if there's any other final thoughts before we jump into the traditional tail end questions of dialect dictionary and song choices.
Let's do that.
So one thing I will say though is I have to give a shout out to my buddy Helena, who also completed the Triple Crown Helena's from the club, and she also completed the Triple Crown, and again, phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal for her.
Well done.
Well
Kudos
done,
to
Helena.
Helena. Kudos, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Good shout, JR. Now I know you've been thinking of a dialect dictionary word. Hard. What is your dialect dictionary word, John?
Thought about this long and hard, and I've had so many words go run through my head. The word came to me today, and it sums it up, I think, in two things. It sums up the lack of outdoor toilets or toiletness, and it sums up my fling, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with quiche.
Is that double E?
I don't know how you spell it. I'm not very good at spelling, but I go double E. Quiche.
K-E-E-C-H.
Aye.
That's how they spell it in the Letham.
Yeah. And for listeners who maybe haven't heard that word before, John, what does it mean?
So it can mean several things, but usually it means it's a bit shite, you know.
Or you've been for a big.
Or you've been for a quiche. Or
It's ridiculous, really, when you start saying it, isn't it?
It is. How was your vegetable lasagna? It was quiche. There's so many options.
It is a very
I'm feeling a bit
multi-use word.
today.
How are you feeling?
Yeah.
How are you feeling? Pretty quiche, actually.
Well, you get a wee bit quiche. You know?
Yeah.
But John's also used the word I've never heard before. Toiletness. I've never heard toiletness before, but I get it. And he also used hummed and hawed earlier on.
He also used the bunker earlier on. You ken it, that's a favourite of mine.
Did I say the bunker?
Yeah,
Oh,
he said the bunker. I even wrote it down in my notebook of mini notes. And this is the bunker, exclamation mark. That is a worktop in your kitchen for the
indeed.
posh folk, but it's the bunker in these parts.
It's the bunker. Hey, JR, you've spent many hours on the trails. I don't know if you listen to podcasts, if you listen to music when you're training or when you're running these events, but what tune would JR like to share with the Young Hearts Run Free listeners?
Right, this is a tune. This is a tune that popped into my head again on the fling, and it makes me smile, eh? And it sums up trail running, I think. I want to go with Christopher Cross and Ride Like the Wind.
Oh man, that's an absolute belter of a tune. Not heard that for a long time.
Oh, it's a great song.
Yeah. It's quite up tempo as well in the middle, and the chorus is really good, isn't it? So I don't think we've had Christopher Cross before, Stephen.
No, we've not. I've just double checked that with our gatekeeper of the playlist. Brilliant.
Ironically, he's on the run as well, isn't he? So it's all good.
What's that?
Ironically, he's on the run.
He's on the run.
Well, is he?
Yes. I'm not going to sing it, but listen to it and you'll see.
All right, okay.
The lyrics, he's on the run. He
Ah,
also
right,
did,
okay.
what was the other one? He did Arthur's song, didn't he? Christopher Cross. Sorry, bit of movie trivia there as well. Brilliant.
Okay,
JR,
thank you.
phenomenal chat. That song will be playing out this feature-length episode, but in actual fact, you said at the start, it's been all about the three appearances on Young Hearts Run Free podcast, 3 mega races to complete the Triple Crown. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm really proud of you, man. And I think the way that you've applied yourself and the way you've described these events, these races tonight, the appreciation you've shown for your family and your crew, you've not missed anybody out. It's been absolutely brilliant. It's testimony to who you are as a person. So well done.
John.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Stephen.
Yeah. No, I think I've said it already, John. I think it's been great to hear it for the horses move in full detail. I've been looking forward to tonight, and you've not disappointed. And I think as I use the term "no half measures," you know, that's sort of the name of your autobiography. Again, no half measures. GR. My Triple Crown story. But that's what's kind of sinks home, is the fact that you didn't leave many stones unturned, and if you did leave a stone unturned, then you tripped over it. So it's been great. Inspired me and a whole load of other folk as well. And thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you so much for having me on, guys. You know, everybody else inspires me, so I hope that if somebody can take something from that, I'd be delighted.